Awesome. Well, hello and welcome everybody. My name is Paige Haynes, if you haven't met me before. And I have a beautiful guest with me today called Jody Campbell, and I'll get to her in just a second. But today we've come together because we had a question actually from one of my beautiful team members with my AO scan, and it was around how we can use the chakra frequencies with our astrological chart. And I jumped online super quick and went, Jody, because she's my go-to with everything astrological. And I said, can you speak to this? And she, of course, being the beautiful person that she is, came back and said, absolutely. So I want to just introduce you really quickly to Jody. So Jody is a beautiful friend that I met by chance, actually, although there are no accidents, are there? And she has been working as a kinesiologist for 10 years. And she is also an evolutionary astrologist, which is what actually really caught my eye and my attention when we first started communicating. And Jody regularly uses both of these frameworks in her client sessions. She has a spiritual approach. However, as we've just been discussing, it's actually really practical as well, which I love. And looking at an individual's chart as an evolutionary map to the soul's intentions in this life. Now, whenever I speak about Jody to anyone, they're like, oh my God, give me her details. So don't worry, I will be providing all of those for you after this and in the description and things below. So thank you so much for joining us, Jody. I'm really appreciative of your time and also your wisdom here today on this subject, because let's be honest, I'm clueless in this area, and I'd love to learn more about it myself, but I'm also keen to pass this information on to my team. So thank you.
Thank you, Paige. Thanks for inviting me to speak on this.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So what I thought I'd do first of all is just show you where these queries had come from and what the kind of questions were. So then you just have, I guess, the basis of what we were looking at. So this was a post that was done in the AO Scan official group. If you're just learning about the AO Scan and you're not really sure about it, reach out to me and I can give you information. But basically, it is a bioresonance technology, and it has a way where we can actually work with people on ourselves, but also with people through frequency. And so Charlie Sierra posted this saying, creating an efficient SEFI playlist. So SEFI is subtle energy frequency imprinter playlist. This is broadcasting frequencies with astrology. And the example is given is attracting wealth. And that's what we're actually going to focus on today, because we thought that was a nice intro. In my practice, I integrate astrology into my treatments with the AO scan. Anyone who has ever had an astrological birth chart will know how precise that science is. We can create the best playlist we can, but if the receiver lacks the internal resonant energy regarding the objective or intention of the playlist we have designed, it will not have the expected potential result. In that sense, as an example, if a client wants to attract money or wealth, a playlist can be selected with everything that would logically contribute to the intention, but we can see the planetary energy of your particular case. And if, for example, the patient is Aries ascendant, and if for him the beneficial planets linked to the 2nd and 11th houses, which are wealth in his definition, are the Sun and Mercury, we could then select in your playlist the related chakras, heart and third eye. Now, Jody and I have been looking at this, and as I did a little bit of research into it, we've discovered that there's a number of different ways to read charts and to also read which planets are associated to which chakras. So if you go on, into Google and you look at this, you will find a myriad of different ways. And where we've come to land with it, because Jody has her particular approach to it, it's also with astrology, right? There are so many different approaches to astrology. But where we've come to land with it is take what resonates. And so we'll be speaking into the way that Jody works today and how she would interpret the different things. But if that doesn't resonate for you, then by all means, bring your own flavor into that. But this is really just a discussion to look at a few people's charts, some of my beautiful team members' charts actually, and how this might be influencing them, and what chakras might be beneficial from a wealth perspective. And we've decided to take the wealth perspective because we actually have an abundance 21-day challenge happening at the moment where we actually send frequencies to people. And so, yeah, I think it's really pertinent because I think that people can be supporting themselves from a different perspective as well with this. So, yeah, I love it. I love it so much. So, Jody, where do you want to start?
Wow. Well, I mean, if people know nothing about astrology, I guess the place to start would always be your second house, and looking at what's in there. So the second house resonates to Taurus, to Taurian energy. That's the natural home that Taurus likes to be in. And if we look in a second house, we're looking at how well resourced a person is. We're looking at their value system and their personal currency. So those things will all be informed through that second house, you know. And then we might look at the planetary rulership that links back, which is Venus. You know, we could have a little look at where Jupiter sits, because Jupiter is, you know, benefic, and it's always expansive, and there's good luck and, you know, other things always related to Jupiter. So it's a great planet if it shows up somewhere. It's kind of like, yeah, it's always worth having a look at. But the primary place would be Venus, the second house, and Taurus. And so your abundance.
Just say quickly, actually, for everyone, just pause the recording now if you haven't got your chart, because it would be really great for you to look along with us as we go. And I'll just quickly share where we'd both recommend you do that. I should have mentioned that a bit earlier. So if you go to astro.com, you are actually able to, get your birth chart there. So if you haven't got your chart in front of you, I would recommend go and do that really quickly and print it off so you can follow along as we go, because we'll be showing you some people's charts. But yeah, you can have a look at, like we just said, the second house, Venus, and I've already forgotten.
Taurus.
And Taurus. And I'm going to have to take notes when we get off this. Awesome.
No, and Paige, now's a really fabulous time. Of course, there are no accidents for you to be sending out those frequencies around abundance, because later this month, you know, in the sign of Taurus, we've got a conjunction, and it's, you know, it's a 1 in however long, 100 and something years, yeah. And so that'll be, it's that, and it's happening in Taurus, obviously, and everyone's looking forward to it and thinking there'll be opportunities for just a shift in your personal abundance, you know, will come through. This is a fabulous month to be really keeping your eyes open to opportunities for more wealth, personal wealth, and that doesn't have to be mundane, you know, whatever that means to you. And if you feel wealthy because you get to travel, well, then there might be travel opportunities, you know, that kind of thing. So it's thinking outside the box is very much a part of this conjunction, and seeing opportunities that you may not have been able to see before. Yeah, so it's a really great time that, you know, the stars are very aligned for abundance at the moment.
I love that we chose that. It's so funny because we have a different theme on them. So I did a detox one earlier in the year, and we're doing the abundance now, and it's yeah, it's just funny that that's come up right now, and it's perfect.
It is,
like you say, never any accidents.
Never
sorry.
Never any mistakes. It's all just happening regardless of whether we feel like we understand it or not. We're living it. We're living it anyway.
Yeah, 100%. And I think over the last couple of weeks, particularly, people have really felt into these energies. And yeah, I get a lot of messages. What's going on with the planets? Because I'm having a breakdown. It's like, yes, it's okay. You're not alone.
Yeah, exactly right. That's eclipses. That's the eclipse season that we're,
Yeah. So do you think we should dive into a chart and sort of explain as we read? Yeah, beautiful. I love also that Jody is actually putting together a course at the moment in her evolutionary astrology, and I am on the sidelines cheering her because I want to do it. So that will be coming up later in the year. Hey, Jody.
It will become
nudge. So yes, if you love what Jody's sharing here, then there's an opportunity to actually work with her, and maybe we can carpool because she's in Toowoomba and I'm in Brisbane. So if anyone else from Brisbane wants to come with me, beautiful. So should we start with Rani, or where would you like to start?
Yeah. Let's look at Rani's chart. So Rani's chart is a lovely chart, and it has the houses and the signs are actually in alignment. So Aries is Rani's ascendant, and you can see it there at 8 degrees on the left-hand side of the chart as you look at it. No, down on the left-hand side.
Left.
Left.
My left is left. So down here.
That's 8 degrees Aries. Yeah. So that's her rising sign, her ascendant, which means that Aries is present through most of her first house. And Aries in the first house, their frequencies resonate the most closely out of all the houses that Aries could be in. He actually wants to be in the first house because they speak the same language. And then when you roll down into the second house, Taurus is at the doorway of the second house at 7 degrees. And so it's the same. Her entire chart, the houses, the signs are actually in the houses that they're most able to express themselves freely through. So that the second house, I would describe it as a house of resources. It's about who and what we value.
This is the
and so the second house. Yeah. So that's how we could look there and understand about a person's personal currency would live in there, you know, their love language. And so Venus is the natural ruler of the second house, and Venus is, you know, in me, goddess of love, goddess of peace. So, and she's all about discernment. She's all about, you know, what is it that we value? And once we understand that, well, then we can attract it in, you know, so that's, so Rani has Taurus in her second house. So, you know, she's already got the ability to understand herself and understand, her, you know, what she values and her resources in a way.
Sorry, Jody, just backtrack. How do we know she's got Taurus in her second house? Is this Taurus here?
No. So this on the outer ring, there's a bull's head, and it's in a greeny color. Yeah, that's it. So that's the sign of Taurus. Right. And so because it's there in that outer ring, it's at 7 degrees as you enter that second house. And so it takes up most of the second house down through, and then before you get the second house, you know, you're in Gemini, which is the icon at the, you know, down, keep going down. That's it. Yeah. So Taurus from 7 degrees to 30 degrees. So the bulk of that house, of that second house, is Taurian. And because on the cusp of the house is Taurus, whatever sign's on the cusp, that sign has rulership, and therefore the ruler of that sign has rulership of that house. So Venus, if you look in the 6th house, you'll see there are 3 planets over in the 6th house. Venus is the planet on the top, the pale blue planet, and then there's Pluto, and then there's Uranus, but we're talking about Venus. So Venus is the planet that naturally rules the second house. Okay, in a perfect world, we understand Venus really, she resonates to that energy. And in Rani's chart, it does have rulership as well. So this Venus, and Venus is in another sign, another earth sign, which is how she has to express herself. So very, very practical. I would imagine that Rani's the way Rani views wealth, and the way Rani feels resourced and attracts abundance will be very, very, very practical. You know, because the 6th house is about rituals, daily patterns, all the little things, and it resonates to the Virgo energy that's sitting there. So Rani's Venus is saying, so I would say to Rani, if she was asking me about how she can improve and open herself up to abundance, I'd say you just need to take care of the little things, and the big things will take care of themselves. That would be, you know, her mantra, her wealth mantra is pay attention to all the little things, and then the big things will just happen, you know? And she has the ability to do that because, you know, she's got this beautiful Venus in that 6th house. So all of her little daily patterns and rituals, you know, they are all building towards her abundance and her wealth. Yeah. So for Rani, I would say, you know, it's all quite simple. The planets and the ways that they are able to can express themselves, they're freely expressive. There's not you know, nothing is retrograde. So even though her second house doesn't have a planet in it, when planets transit through it, you know, they're moving into a space where that Venetian, that Taurian energy speaks so clearly through that second house that every time she's going to have a transit of a planet like a Jupiter or Venus or whatever, those would be really wonderful times for her to really focus on wealth building. Yeah, because that second house is how would we say it? It's clear and open. Yeah, it's clear and open to do with gathering abundance.
And so if she was looking for some support in terms of the chakras, what would, like, can you sort of tell that from?
Yeah, so look, it's a lot of, I would always, because we everything is earth here that we're talking about with Rani in the second house, Taurus, and Venus is in an earth sign. So I would look at and we're talking about sixth house daily patterns and rituals, I would probably focus on the base chakra.
Yeah, I was about to say that. That's what it feels like, doesn't it?
It
and
does
Rani's
feel like,
actually a kinesiologist as well and works with the 5 elements and things as well. So I think that would really resonate with her also.
Yeah, in the physical, very practical, you know, so that I would be focusing on that base chakra. And then, you know, it's like, I don't know, the image for me is like lighting a fire. Don't ask me why, because it's earth, but and building it and letting that heat build and then move up through all the chakras. But it always has to start at that very, very practical level. So that's what.
And that's quite funny actually, because Rani is the reason you're probably getting that is she is actually on the road at the moment, traveling in her motorhome, and so there's lots of campfires for her. So that'll be a great visual for her too.
Yeah, it was a fire, and it's an image of it. So it's interesting. Yeah,
but she's connecting. So you're like, she's at all these beautiful places down in Tasmania right now, actually. So I keep watching her posts and going, get to Tasmania.
That sounds fabulous, because it's like where she's at, you know, connecting to the land, you know, the earth under her feet, feeling connected, feeling grounded, and allowing that to inform, you know, her how well resourced, you know, she feels. Yeah, so that's
amazing. That's so cool. Is there anything else you'd like to add to Rani's, or should we move on to?
Yeah, look, I think that's enough.
Cool. I love that. Yeah. That's cool. And I'm hoping that this is becoming clearer for everyone watching along with their own charts as well. So yeah, how to make those sort of correlations. So will we go, I might just go up one, and this is Tim. So there's another beautiful team member now. Tim wasn't sure on her birth time, but I actually had it. So anyway, I popped it in because I had done her human design. So yeah, hoping this is right, Tim, because that's what was in it. Wow, she's got a lot of action in the second house.
She sure does. Yeah. So she's got she's got two planets, and she's got Lilith and another asteroid. So I'll perhaps just speak of the planets rather than
so can we just point out which ones are the planets and which ones the
so at 1 degree, that's Pluto.
Yep.
And you'll see that that Tim's, I hope I'm not speaking too deeply into astrology language. So, but Tim's house, the second house, is intercepted. So you'll see at the, I'm pointing at the screen, you can't see, but you'll see at the doorway of that second house is 25 degrees Virgo. So on the very outer ring, down there, that's it, 25 degrees Virgo. So if you were standing at the doorway between the first and second house and you looked up, the sign above you would say, 25 degrees Virgo. So you're entering a Virgo space, but then you're only in it for a few degrees, 5 degrees, and then it becomes a Libran space. And you see all those planets are actually in Libra. And Libra is in the center of that. But then before you leave that house, at the exit sign, from the second house to the third house, you'll see down there it's the second degree of Scorpio. So that's what it means when we say a house is intercepted. So So Libra, that sign, is sandwiched inside that house between Virgo and Scorpio. So Libra actually doesn't have rulership of any house of Tim's because it's boxed in there a little bit. And if you look to the opposite end of the chart, you'll see that Aries is the same. It's boxed in on the 8th house between Pisces and Taurus. Yeah, so that is my personal take on this is that in a previous life, because that's evolutionary astrology, works on the understanding that we're, a divine being, that has had many lifetimes, and each time we incarnate, we have a purpose, which is to expand and grow and, move beyond. So I would say my personal take is that when someone has intercepted houses like this, it's because they have explored and expanded that energy, that Libran energy, or that Aryan energy, the Aries, so much in previous existences that it's very, very powerful within them. And it'll take over, their personality, or there's a danger that they'll just continue to express that because it's so easy and so strong. So they can't, so our soul says, let's just sort of bookend it a little bit in order to give all the other signs an opportunity to expand. So that's my take on it. So what that means is for Tim, I would say one of or both of those signs are really strong in her at a soul level already. And so she, whatever is in there wanting to express itself is going to have the ability to express itself quite strongly. Yeah. So she's got Libra in that 2nd house. So the first thing that I'd say is for Tim, finding the middle road is always going to be the finding, being at peace, finding harmony, finding balance. Those Libra themes, those are the ways that she's going to feel the most abundant, the most prosperous, and move in that direction, because because Libra's in the 2nd house, it's basically saying you harmony and balance, beauty, all of those Libran things are your pathway to abundance and to being better resourced. So I would say that. I would say in the 6th house you'll see Tim's Venus. Again, in the 6th house, and that's it. Yep, there she is. Same as Rani's, and in an earth sign. So Rani's was in Virgo, but Tim's is in Capricorn, so it's an earth sign. So Capricorn is a sign that enables us to do difficult things, big things, So it requires hard work, but with hard work there'll be great gains. So it's kind of like a sign of great expectations. If you do the work, you're going to be successful. Success is almost guaranteed, but you must do the work. So it's not like you're not going for a pass, you're going for a high distinction. When you see Capricorn kind of energy, and being in the 6th house, again, this is about daily patterns. So her Venus is with her kind of always informing her daily life. So and ensuring that she does the things that might seem difficult or a bit of a chore, but she'll get the outcome. So it's a little bit like if you get up and you go for a walk every day, then at the end of your life you've got good health, kind of thing. Like it's some, even on the days you don't feel like it, even on the cold days and the rainy days, if you go, then that will pay off. So these are our daily patterns and rituals. So Venus is in there in that 6th house with her every day, asking her to do the things that she knows are good for her. Yeah, so good for her, and that is her pathway to prosperity. And if she gets all of this, all of the different challenges that her soul will be faced with in this life, if she's working at that and facing all of those things, you'll see on the very top of her chart, her midheaven, which is the arrow between the 9th and 10th house, is Taurus, 29 degrees Taurus. And you'll notice too that because she has Aries and Libra intercepted and they don't get rulership, there'll be 2 other signs in the chart that get to rule 2 houses. So that is Taurus has rulership of the 9th house and the 10th house. And then down the bottom of the chart, in opposition to that, Scorpio has rulership of her 3rd and 4th house. But we're focusing on wealth and abundance here. So we're looking at this Taurian imprint and we're saying, wow, this 9th house and this 10th house are both ruled by this Taurian energy, both ruled by Venus, this goddess of love, goddess of peace. And so at the highest point in her chart, which is at 29 degrees Taurus, you know, that point shows us when we are doing us, whatever us is, you know, right, when we are removing everything that's stopping us from being our whole self, then we will be resonating to this midheaven, this 29 degrees Taurus, which is, you know, a pretty wonderful place to be. You know, it's grounded, it's secure, all of those Taurian kind of themes. There's comfort, there's beauty, there's peace, you know, feeling good in your body, you know, being surrounded and by things that make you feel really, really well resourced. You know, it's it's a really nice place to be. So, you know, I think Tim's chart, keeping balanced, doing all of so that's the 2nd house, keeping balance, you know, and making sure there's harmony, you know, within. And there'll be and because with Pluto there, there'll definitely be challenges around that. So learning how to come back to balance, learning how to have that shadow step forward and then find your way back to balance, have that trauma step forward and finding your way back to balance, because Pluto is the great awakener, and those are the kinds of experiences that he will bring, you know, in order to challenge Tim to find a way to come back into her center. So that, simply put, walking the middle road, finding balance, is a pathway to prosperity. Doing all of the little things in the day that are about that, you know, the things that require some self-discipline. That's that Venus in Capricorn in the 6th house, and then the outcomes are really, which is up in the midheaven, are just really lovely and wonderful. With Taurus ruling, having, you know, 2 houses rulership. So I think that's a really wonderful chart actually to do with abundance and prosperity. It's not that there's no challenge there, but you know, that's how we grow, that's how we live into things.
And so from a chakra perspective, what would it again be that base chakra, with that Venus being in
look, there's a lot of earth there, so practical. So that's, you know, that space chakra is really good for that. The Libra is an air sign, so which is intellect, you know, but it is ruled
ground chakra then.
Well, Venus has rulership of 2 signs. It rules Taurus and it rules Libra. So Venus is ruling, at the end of the day, all of these planets that are in I'm pointing to the chart, but you can't see. All of these planets that are in Libra, they kind of have to answer to Venus, you know. So it could be throat chakra, or third eye, or base. Those are the 3 that I would say could be beneficial. Beneficial.
Amazing. Thank you, Tim, for volunteering. Oh, and then we have Julie's, which I know you said to me was quite an interesting one as well. So it's been great actually being able to have a look at.
So okay, so cool. I'm just so Julie's chart, Julie's sun down in the 3rd house, you'll see, is which is the brown dot with the little So Julie's sun is in Taurus, yeah, and her north node is sitting next to it at 6 degrees. So the north node is the karmic imprint in the chart, along with the moon, which is also very karmic, and Saturn, I guess. But it's the north node of the moon, so it's the direction of the soul's growth, and life purpose is all contained there in that north node. And it sits in opposition to the south node, which is our karmic past, our emotional patterning, that's ripe for healing. So Julie has the sun at 12 degrees Taurus. She has a north node at 6 degrees Taurus, and she has Mercury, at 3 degrees Taurus. So she's got a stellium or a little group of planets there in that third house. So communication is going to be really, really key for Julie. And with the sun and the north node in the same sign, within 6 degrees of each other, she's really, really well supported, because the sun is your personality and it's the way you like to express yourself. And it's sitting there keeping company with that north node. So her actual personality in this life is supporting and looking in the exact same direction as the way that her soul is wanting to grow. So it's a really very supportive place for your north node to be when it's keeping company with your sun. Mercury is in the third house, which is where it loves to live. But it will be practical, because they're all in the sign of Taurus. Yeah. So it'll be, I imagine that Julie, doing what she says, will be very, very fundamental kind of thing for Julie. If she says it, then she I want to use a different word other than should, but keeping that in alignment, having her thoughts and her words be followed by her practical expression of herself.
Yeah.
I think that's worth looking at, that very strong Taurian imprint. But as I said, the second house is really the place that we look when we're looking at our resources, our currency, and our abundance. And Julie, she has she has one planet, and Lilith, the dark moon, and Chiron, the wounded healer, in that second house. So initially, I would say that Julie perhaps has had to work through some challenges, because Chiron is sitting in there telling us that. But once she has worked through those challenges, and depending on Julie's age, age is not an indication of working with challenges, but we've certainly had time to address them the older we get. Julie will have dealt with them. And then she will be, Chiron is the wounded healer, but Chiron is actually the teacher too. Spent most of his time teaching and healing. Helping other people. So this will be about self-value, because at the end of the day, when we value ourselves enough, then that energy spreads out, and it goes and it moves from us, from that internal rock solid place out, and it comes back to us, if that makes sense. So I think Julie, once she's worked on her own value system and understands how valuable she is, then she will also help other people do the same. So she's working in a very practical way with Saturn in that house, to do with personal value. It's very personal, because Aries is the sign there. Yeah, so I feel kind of like this is a bit more personal than the last two charts. This abundance and prosperity story that I'm looking at in this chart.
I kind of feel like, I know Julie's learning a lot of things at the moment, and she's, I feel like she's consolidating all of the stuff that she's she's interested in and knows works and all of that sort of thing, to then deliver it to the world. Like, I feel like that's where she's at the moment. So that's really cool hearing that.
Yeah.
It's like she's on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's what I see in that second house, moving through personal challenges in order to then be the person that helps other people with their.
And I totally think that's been her journey. Like, she's actually had a lot of, from my understanding, some pretty full-on health challenges and things like that as well. So now she's ready to kind of move into that space of helping others with theirs.
This I kind of almost feel this is too personal to speak of, which is kind of interesting, because I don't know Julie and I haven't really said anything. There's very powerful energy here. You know, as I speak, it's like go gently, you know, and that is my intuition is telling me as I speak into this chart. So yeah, it's very relevant now. We haven't looked Paige at these are people's natal charts. So we're just looking at the lens that we would look at prosperity through for these individuals. But of course, there's planets transiting and making angles back on to individuals, to their second house and to their Venus. What I will say is I haven't spoken of her Venus, which is in the fourth house. So a fourth house, well, Venus in Gemini tells me that Julie would be very able to have lots of creative prosperity, wealth, ideas, you know, we could do this, I could do that, you know. Venus in Gemini there would tell me that, you know, she has some really wonderful ideas. And I think sometimes what happens is we don't know that we have more wonderful, you know, money-making ideas than the next person. We don't know that. We might think, everyone thinks these things, you know, whereas when I see Venus in Gemini, I'm like, Julie would have some really great ideas about, you know, creating value and, so, you know, that's definitely worth discussing, especially in that fourth house to do with, you know, home, family, her tribe, her really, really personal tribe, which is what that fourth house is about. Yeah, especially there. But, you know, everywhere. But, yeah, especially there.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, awesome. So from a chakra perspective, supportive kind of frequencies, would it be around that creativity, or would it be more that Taurus supporting?
Well, and I'm going to spear off here altogether. Yep. I mean, definitely Taurus, you know, Taurus is an earth sign, so looking at the base chakra and being grounded and stuff, you know, that's essential.
Yep.
And definitely that. But simply because Chiron is sitting there in that second house in Pisces, I would be perhaps even working with the crown chakra, you know, because Pisces is that last sign, and it's about, you know, connection to everything, you know, the oneness, which is we get that through opening ourselves up, you know. So, and there's definitely I would be clearing, you know, working with I would be working with the crown chakra. Definitely.
And that would also tie in with probably that Venus as well, right? With being that creativity and I would so I would definitely be looking at that, and also and base, crown and base. So that's interesting, isn't it? Out of that, that's that would be where I'd be focusing, crown and base for Julie. And that's because Saturn, you know, it's an earth planet and it's in Aries. It's a which I think resonates to that base chakra, you know. So crown and base, amazing. Thank you.
I haven't spoken.
Sorry.
No, well, I mean, it's worth individuals if it's worth just having a look at where your Jupiter is. And I haven't spoken into that, but Jupiter is it's a good luck, you know, it's a good luck charm.
Where is it on here so people know
in
what?
here it's at 27, it's in the 6th house at 27 degrees in Cancer. Yeah. So
yeah. And that's the sign there for Jupiter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the sign there for Jupiter. So Jupiter is an expansive planet, you know, and so it's in what would I say, traditional astrology, it's thought of as the great benefic, you know, because it's beneficial, but then other planets are known as malefic, you know, and so for me it's like, oh yeah, I can't use that language, I don't believe in that. So no planet is good or bad, they're just expressing themselves in a certain way. So Jupiter is always going to be expanding whatever it touches or whatever it's near. It's going to, you know, there's growth, there's expansion. Something can sort of blossom out of almost nothing, you know, really quickly. So it's like if your Jupiter is touching on, or if you're working well with your Jupiter, then whatever it is, wherever it's placed, you know, there's rapid growth is something that is could happen.
Yeah.
So if you
being in the 6th house here under Capricorn for her.
Yeah, look, I think okay, well it's in Cancer, in the 6th house. You know, that's okay. It's in Cancer in the 6th house. So what do I want to say there? It's you know, I haven't talked at all because of time constraints and keeping it simple. I haven't talked at all about the relationships that any of these particular planets could be having with other planets in the chart, which is what all of those lines are in the middle of the chart, you know, the red, blue lines. So trines and squares and oppositions and quintiles and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So they're all informing us about, well, this planet is, yes, it's a planet and it's a planet in its own right, but because it's making these angles to other planets or other things, then, you know, it's in an active relationship with these other planets that are also expressing themselves. So they kind of act a bit like a team, you know, because they're in a relationship. And this Jupiter particularly, you'll see there's a blue line, it's at 27 degrees and it's a blue line up to Neptune, which is, you know, which is in conjunct or within 2 degrees of Julie's midheaven. And then you'll also see from that Jupiter, there's another blue line, and it goes across to that Chiron, which is at 28 degrees in the 2nd house in Pisces. So there's a trine, like a grand trine there between those 3 planets. Yeah. So that is those 3 planets. Yeah, they're in a relationship that I think if Julie is this is what I would say to her if she's sitting in front of me and I could only say 1 or 2 sentences, that she needs to be open to looking to healing herself, and not turning away from any of her intuition, no matter how uncomfortable it makes her feel. So I'm looking at that Neptune, you know, on the midheaven in Scorpio, in order to receive, you know, very, very, very nurturing, heart-based growth. And that's that Jupiter in Cancer. Okay. Yeah. So the healing, that Chiron in Pisces, that healing, and that's kind of like soul level healing in this life with Chiron in Pisces. You know, Julie could easily be choosing to heal you know, things that have happened from many lifetimes ago, but healing them here and now, you know, having the ability to touch those parts of herself and know them in this life and actively heal them and just continue to fill her own cup of self-worth and self-value by you know, working on herself. That's that Chiron. And then looking up into the mid-heavens and not turning away from anything that's uncomfortable that is being shown to her. Yeah, that intuition, that Neptune in Scorpio, and yeah, allowing her, yeah, not turning away from anything, and also allowing herself to learn from any personal health issues that she has. Yeah, that tells me that up there. Yeah, that they are, you know, it's almost like they're always pointing her, you know, in her efforts to live a strong and healthy life, and to, you know, that is informing her of things that she needs to know.
Yep.
And then down here, in order, that Cancer sign, that's loving, nurturing, you know, that's feeling safe and held, and she has Jupiter there, so that ability to feel that way will just expand and expand and expand. You know, if those three planets, if she addresses those things, and they're just, you know, one sentence per planet. Honestly, you could spend sessions on one planet, but yeah, that's it's really quite a personal, as I say, quite a personal.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
I love that so much. That is really, really cool. Thank you so much for that. Oh my gosh, I got so if we were to tell someone to look at their own chart right now, a few of the things that I've just gleaned from you. So if I was to go and look at my chart right now, I'd be looking at what's going on in my second house, but also be looking for my Taurus, because Taurus and
the second house, you resonate together. Yeah. Yes. Taurus will show. Yep.
Yep. And then also my Venus, looking where my Venus falls, because she is the ruler of that second, the natural ruler of that second house.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah. And then, you know, if you want to take it beyond that, you go and see someone like Jody. But then also,
now at the transits, and you look at what, and perhaps even have a little look, everyone. This is a hot tip. Yeah. You know, have a look at it. I think it's 20. I think it's 20. No, 21. Where am I looking? I'll just have a before I tell you wrong. I'll just get it up. Yeah, 21 degrees. So have a look at where 21 degrees Taurus is in your chart. And for Julie, it's her descendant, yeah. And that is where that conjunction is happening between Jupiter, which is that expansive, you know, it's like, oh, I could win the lottery or something, you know, when Jupiter's touching something, you know, you could get something from nothing, you know, but yeah. And the planet Uranus, which is about sudden change, or I'll leave it at that, sudden change. You know, it's like, oh, boom, there's just...
So her 21 degrees Taurus is where I'm pointing here.
That's right. And it'll be different for everybody. And that is where that conjunction is happening on about the 20th of this month. So, you know, between the 17th and the 24th or something, you know, there's that energy will be really, really powerful. So that's when you're looking for those opportunities where something could just suddenly happen. Just an opportunity will land, and it will land because it's Taurus, it's physical, it's earthy, it's real. It will just land. And, you know, if your eyes are open to seeing things in a different way, so that's that Uranian energy, there'll be opportunity, which is the Jupiter energy for, you know, prosperity, wealth, abundance, because that's Taurus. Taurus is the sign about money. So
at that 21 degrees of Taurus, you're saying the planets are actually, this is what's happening in the here and now.
That's right. Right now there'll be
and we are in, where are we? We're in April.
We're in April.
People, just so you know. So all of these dates are around April 2024.
8th. So yeah, it's the 8th. So and we're talking this happening 20th.
Tomorrow.
Couple of weeks. Yeah. So this abundance energy, this is you know, Jupiter takes about 11 years to go around, but Uranus takes 80 something, and they're coming together in Taurus. So it's, you know, this is a really yeah, it doesn't come that often, you know, and yeah, it's just it's a real opportunity to see something that could be very beneficial, to look with new eyes at what's happening. So, and you look, so for Julie, she'd be looking about the way she thinks, and because it's on the cusp of the 3rd and 4th house, she'd be looking at her intellect, her perceptions, her, you know, she'd be looking through that 3rd house lens. So when I say it, look where it's sitting in your chart, look at the house it's in, and then go Google that house and go, oh, this is happening in if it was my 7th house, this is about my one-on-one relationships. So this is about me seeing opportunities or seeing something with fresh eyes in the form of relationships. So it might be a business partnership or a personal relationship, someone you've known for a long time, and all of a sudden you realize, you know what, I don't know why I've never thought of this, but they could be a partner, they could be a life partner for me, you know, and it's like taking off, you know, the
blinders, maybe the blinkers.
Yeah, and seeing something in a completely new way. So that's what this energy is about, and depending on where it falls in your chart, that's the landscape or the area of your life that you'd be looking in.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to go and do that straight away. 21 degrees Taurus. Let me put that somewhere. Now, the other thing was, when I came to see you a little while ago, you showed me some amazing cards which have those little insights and things on them. Do you remember?
Yeah. Yes.
What are they called? Because I thought I could share that with everyone.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I shouldn't be putting you on the spot like this, but because I didn't prep you for that. But do you remember what they're called?
I think I don't think I've got them out here. Can you give me a second?
Yeah.
I'll just look. I'll just run it there. I think I might have one.
Absolutely, no worries at all. And so just while Jody's popped out as well, what I wanted to share from the AO scan perspective is that recently we've had an addition to the AO scan, and I feel like this really falls into that as well. So with the multicast, which allows us to work with different people, I'm actually not in my thing. Oh, you're back. That's good. With the multicast, you can actually send frequencies to different people. And when we're in the multicast, just select a person. I'm actually, you can select a subject. So let's just go with, okay. And then you can look at a flower essence that will help with stopping so like we were talking about there, to increase your resonance and your acceptance of what's going on. So here we've got lack of confidence, pink flannel flower. So that's actually then the frequency that's going to carry the playlist that you select, and make sure that it gets through the wall is what it is. So often we have these barriers of the walls, which is the point of looking, I guess, at the charts as well, to see where those walls might appear. And again, you can relate them back to the chakras. But what I was going to say is, if there are particular emotions and things like that, you can also be using the flowers as the frequency to carry that through as well. So that is another way that I feel like this could kind of link in. And then of course we've got other things like essential oils that we can add in. We've got crystals, we've got, you know, all of those different things. And also what I also love is the new one on the AO tune and the planetary frequencies. So you could also, and planetary chakra frequencies. So there are a lot of different ways that you could literally go in here, and if it was, you know, any of those chakras that you needed to work with, you could literally just send that to yourself, and pop the transducers. They're a new little thing that we've got, so you're putting them to wherever, or just pop the scanner on those points as well, wherever you feel like they need that. So anyway, I just wanted to quickly show you that as well and make that kind of connection. So yeah, did you find the cards, Jo?
I did. I found the cards. So this is these are the cards.
Your astrology. Yeah, I'll try and just, yeah.
So it's a couple of women I ordered them online.
Yeah.
American women, as far as I know, and I spoke to one of them. They came so fast; it was amazing. And look, they have some really great, and then they're very, very. They're the best thing I've ever seen to do with. Oh, look at you finding that. Best thing I've ever seen to do with. I use them all the time, as you know. Just I throw them out. I haven't got them here, but I will often, if I'm talking into a planet in a house, in a sign, in someone's chart, I'll put them on the table in front of me so my client can look at them while I'm talking, and I can say, look, you've got these 3 planets in this one sign, in this, and then they can, that's a visual reference. They can take that in, and it will. I think they're very, very helpful, especially if you're a visual person,
I really loved them because they were also concise. So they gave like an overview, and so if you're wanting to dive a little bit deeper into this, I would suggest having either some kind of resource like a book or whatever. Maybe you've already got that, but these cards, I loved it when I had my session with Jody, because she did exactly that. And you just received them, I think, when we did ours. And so you were popping out, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I actually said to Jody at that point, you need to include these in your course, because they're going to make life so much easier for people learning about them. So they're amazing. Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to share that one as well with everyone, because and of course, like I said before, Jody will be running an astrology course later in the year, which if anyone's interested in, I'll put all of Jody's details in the links below, so you can contact her. And of course, we're in Southeast Queensland, but who knows, she might take it online too, Jode.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, if you're interested, feel free to connect with me, and and to register your interest and let me know, and or personal sessions or whatever. But learning is such a wonderful way, because you're informing yourself, and it's
and I just love the way that you approach things. Like I've been in and around astrology a lot in my life, but I've never had that had things explained in the way that you do, and then linked back to what's relevant for me as well, in terms of
making it work.
And exactly. So it's really, really great. So thank you very much, everyone, for your time. Thank you, Jody, so much. And we'll leave it there for now. But if you have any questions, please pop them through to me, or, as Jody said, get in touch with her. But thanks again for all of your time and everything today. And now I have to learn how to stop the recording.